Thank you, Mr. Council President. I know all of my colleagues join me in recognizing the incredible support professionals that we have working to support the amazing organization serving our developmental disability community. We have some of the most remarkable organizations nationally right here in Montgomery County who have for decades been partnering with the county to provide remarkable services to some of the members of our community that need the most support. And these direct support professionals have been heroic through the pandemic. They have been risking their own lives and the lives of their families to continue to provide the high level service that these families and that these residents count on. And it is truly because of their efforts that these organizations are able to operate and support these communities at such an extraordinarily high level. And so I would like to take the time to thank them for their dedication, for their leadership. We know they are an extension of the families that they serve, and we would not be able to have the remarkable organizations that we have without their support. With that, I'll turn it over to the county executive to make some opening comments, and then he and I will jointly read the proclamation together.
So I'm very happy to be here today doing this proclamation. I think, as most of you know, I have a son who has disabilities, and so for God, how many years is it now? 45 years. I have had a relationship with the disability community and with their providers, and I know the work they do. I know, it's difficult in the best of circumstances, and it requires a lot of dedication and commitment in order to serve people, and it's become more difficult during COVID. And so I really do appreciate the professionals in this field and the work they do to make sure that our folks who are developmentally disabled get as much of the services that they can possibly get, and even get them during these difficult times. And I've even watched Zoom meetings come to the disability community because, well, like my son can't go out on his normal day routines. They have a Zoom meeting every day where people get together, and all that stuff is important. And so, I know their work and I appreciate what they're doing, and it's really appropriate that we honor and recognize the professionals for what they do to make life better for some of the folks who face some of the greatest challenges in life. So thank you for doing this, Gabe.
Thank you, Mr. County Executive. That was well said. I see in the audience is Dr. Raymond Crowell, our incredible Director of the Department of Health and Human Services. Dr. Crowell, if you'd like to say a few words, we'd appreciate it.
Thank you, Councilmember Albornoz and County Executive Elrich for taking the time to recognize the developmental community's providers and the direct support providers in Montgomery County. I think County Executive Elrich's comment was spot on, that these are folks who have been putting themselves on the front line and taking their lives in their own hands and risking them to continue to serve members of our community who have intellectual disabilities and intellectual challenges and disabilities, but who with help can become productive and contributing members of our society and can take full advantage of all the richness that Montgomery County has to offer. COVID-19 has not made it easy for folks, and yet they have continued to do it. This is not the kind of work that one comes to because they're seeking fame or fortune. It is born of compassion and big hearts, and it takes that kind of dedication. It's the kind of thing that pulls people out of bed to do the work, not just dragging themselves out of bed, but they're pulled and called to that work. And for that, I thank them very much and appreciate the hard work that they are doing for us. So thank you all. And thank you for doing this, Councilmember.
Absolutely. Thank you, Dr. Crowell. And in the audience, I want to recognize them, but we're going to move to the proclamation. I see Odile Brunetto, who is our Division Chief for the Aging and Disability Division of the Department of Health and Human Services, who serves as an important partner. And I know Rick Callahan, who is also in the audience, and his organizations and the organizations he represents do an absolutely fantastic job every day of serving our disability community. So with that, Mr. County Executive, I will kick us off with the proclamation, and why don't we do the alternate thing if that works for you. So, whereas Montgomery County recognizes the extraordinary times we live in, and that the providers of services to developmentally disabled residents of the county have been disproportionately impacted by COVID-19. And
whereas Montgomery County has a strong history of partnership with the DD providers with regular communications, so the DD providers work actively with the county to develop resources and tools to expand safe operations in the face of the COVID-19 pandemic. The county has also created a recovery work group for older adults and persons with disabilities to address provider and community issues, with several DD providers participating in this effort and providing timely feedback and concrete recommendations. And
whereas several county providers are also participating in the Developmental Disability Administration's Regional Provider Work Group, and the county will work with DDA to ensure that we will have a coordinated effort. And
whereas Montgomery County has distributed several rounds of personal protective equipment, increased access to testing, and developed a nurse case management team dedicated to providing support to the DD group home provider community during this public health emergency. And
whereas we acknowledge the tremendous leadership of the DD provider agencies and the direct support professionals who have continued to provide care and support to the most vulnerable in our community. These provider organizations have the responsibility of ensuring the safety, quality, and viability of the community-based system of care that supports people with intellectual and developmental disabilities. These professionals have been on the front lines and have been asked to work many overtime hours to keep residents safe.
Now therefore do we, Mark Elrich as County Executive and Sidney Katz as Council President, hereby proclaim September 13th through 19th as Direct Support Professional Recognition Week in Montgomery County, and ask residents to join us in recognizing the extraordinary work that is being done by our developmentally disabled provider community during the COVID-19 health crisis. Signed the 22nd day of September in the year 2020.
Thank you very much, and congratulations to all, and to thank you to all who are doing this so very necessary and important work.